Intelligent Ramblings with your host, Bill Alton. Co-hosted by Gary Glenn and William Howington with help from John Cohn.
Well, welcome to Intelligent Ramblings. I'm your host, Bill Lofton, with my co-hosts, John Cohn, Gary Glenn, and Mr. William Howington.
All right.
How's everybody doing this week?
Crew back.
Cold.
Yeah, it's cold as shit. Shoot.
Good. Glad to be back.
I've been told I need to quit cussing. I've been told not to cuss so much, so I'll be damned if I won't. But anyway, let's get right to the headlines. We got another spot coming up about the weather here in a little bit. Presidential immunity. Really? If you're the president of the United States, as this judge says, can you take the Secret Service and have them go out and shoot one of your rivals because you're the president? I don't think so. What do you think about that, William? You think you should have complete immunity?
No, I don't think that's what it means. I think they ought to have immunity from prosecution, provided it's not tremendously bad, like you say, murder or whatever. But these little piddly things that one party tries to get on the other is ridiculous.
Gary?
I'll go along with that. I don't think. I don't. Yeah. Well, here I am. I don't think that every little thing, but it depends on. Also, is it within the scope of the presidential authority and power while he was in there? You can't have partisan politics weighing in and somebody getting impeached for every little thing that they do. I don't think the law says that. But for high crimes and misdemeanors and things like that, impeachable offenses, and particularly if they waft over into the criminal element, yeah, they ought to be able to be prosecuted. Even the president's not above the law.
Well, it seems that Andrea agrees with you. She says, I don't agree that is piddly.
No, I don't think insurrection's piddling.
No. It does kind of say, well, damn, they just tried to take over the country with an insurrection. But I didn't mean it.
Let's be clear. Let's be clear. If Donald Trump had said to all those people, you folks need to go home. Do not do this. You're going to get in trouble. People are going to get hurt. You need to go home. I appreciate your support, but go home. It would never have happened. But he didn't say that, did he?
No, he didn't have to. Not his. Not his responsibility to say that. He needs to tell them, don't do it. He never said to insurrect.
He did say, let's go to the Capitol.
Fight like
let's
hell.
go to the
He didn't say
Capitol.
that.
He said, let's go to the Capitol. How more blunt can you be than, let's go to the Capitol. Here we go. And he got in his car, and he got in his car, and he actually got pissed off at his drivers, his Secret Service team, because they wouldn't take him down there so he could lead the revolt. He even admitted he got mad at them. How can you admit that you got mad because you didn't get taken to your insurrection?
No, we don't know what he'd have done if he got down there. We can't suppose that he would have done something bad.
Well, we know what he did before he went down there, and it was to encourage all the people who were there listening to his speech to go to the Capitol and fight like hell. Do what they had planned for and organized for weeks in advance.
Andrea's saying he sent him there. He sent him there. Oh, we got a dissenter here.
I didn't get the message. Nobody said anything to me about going down there. How do people know to go down there?
Because he said it in his speech. Let's go. I'm going to lead you to down there. Joel Johnson says, and peacefully protest. Well, what happened to the peacefully part, Joel?
Well, that wasn't Trump's fault. That was the people's fault that were there, and they got arrested and they got jailed. So there.
And they should have.
Right. He never
Quit
said
drinking
to do
the
anything.
mother, father Kool-Aid. Really?
Who's drinking it? Me?
I know. I'm sure he's talking to me. I'm sure he's talking to me. That's your compatriot, William, if you need to know.
Good. I need one.
We watch him on TV. That's what Andrea said. That's what I'm saying. We watched him on TV. We watched him do that. You know, and I mean, it was cut and dry. Now, as long as we're talking about Trump, let's talk about Iowa coming up in 5 days. It seems that Nikki Haley, my favorite, and Ron DeSantis are going to be the only ones doing the debate before Iowa. And it seems that Mr. Trump is going to be doing his own town hall on Fox during the debate rather than showing up for the debate. What do you say to that?
That's pretty much par for the course. I mean, isn't that what he's done most of the campaign? He hasn't participated in a debate yet.
I'm sure he won't participate in a debate until he's nominated.
He's trying to stay out of jail is what he's doing and going to court. So I don't know if he can get to Iowa if the court would let him.
Well, he said he was going to do his own closing arguments, but the judge had very strict guidelines for him to do such a thing. And we don't know if he's going to be able to do that or not. In fact, he turns everything into a campaign speech.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, William. I mean, Gary. I just saw what Jay Johnson had to say. William is the only brains of the bunch. Whoa.
I appreciate that.
Dude, I've known him for 50 years. Right.
Tried and true.
Yeah. I have to admit, he is a pretty smart guy. Getting a lot of comments tonight. Well, Andrea just said Christie is out. His votes will go to Haley or Biden. I watched some news tonight. I watch different channels. I watch ABC, CBS, and I watch Fox, so I can get all different opinions. And several of the people that were interviewed said that I was going to vote for Biden, but I'm not because he's old and whatever. I'm voting for Haley. And people that were voting for Trump said, no, I'm voting for Haley this time. So she's really building up fast.
Yeah, I think she's picking up some steam. Let's see if that'll carry her through. There was an open mic that Christie didn't realize was on, and he said she's going to get smoked. He said we all know that in Iowa. Well, Trump has not had the need to debate anybody because he's so far in front of anybody. Why would he do that?
Yeah.
There's no need for him to do that.
What do you think about Christie dropping out?
I regret that because I thought he was one of the voices of reason. Christie was a Republican. He was not a Trumpian.
Yeah.
And and so I thought he was a voice of reason and all of that. But we'll see what happens
now. You guys voting for Biden? No, I'm not. If the Democrats don't come up with somebody different, I'm an independent, so I won't say if I'm voting for Republican or Democrat. And
me either.
Right now, the problem I got with Biden is I don't know the old white guy in there as our president. It's time for some new blood, and that's why Nikki Haley is the obvious choice to the independents, and that's why I think that she's going to blow them up. I don't care what happens in Iowa because it'll be all Republicans doing all the voting. There's not going to be any Democratic, So when it comes down to it, I think Nikki Haley will take it.
Well, I could live with Nikki Haley, but with the things coming up here in the Middle East, is Nikki Haley the choice that we really want? We need somebody in there powerful. like Trump or somebody similar to Trump. It doesn't have to be Trump, but somebody who's going to have some backbone and stand up to these terrorists.
Well, I think that Nikki Haley would have some backbone. I mean,
let's examine that for a minute. Let's say, what do you suppose Trump would have done on the occasion of the Russians invading Ukraine?
I think Trump would have supplied them with funds and arms and ammunition.
No, he'd have buddied up with his pal Putin and come to some kind of agreement where Russia basically takes over Ukraine.
No, he'd have
don't kid yourself. He's not a capable person when it comes to statesmanship and dealing with diplomacy and working with other leaders, unless they think the same way he does.
I don't think Putin would have invaded if Trump would have been president, number one. I think he'd have been scared.
I don't know. I think they have a relationship. As
what?
Weird as it is, but I do think they have a relationship. And I don't think. And in answer to Andrea's question, I'm for Nikki Haley. I think she's got a lot of backbone, I don't think it's got anything to do with a woman anymore. I think
no, it has anything to do with a woman. I'm just looking at track record. What has she shown that she's?
Well, she ran South Carolina for 2 terms and did a great job, and she was the ambassador to the UN, and did a great job. She's got international experience, and she's also got experiences in leadership as a governor, and has done really well all the time.
Well, I guess
I think Jay Johnson is agreeing with you that he wouldn't have invaded under Trump. They're too afraid of him. And Andrea says Trump negotiated like he could have negotiated the Civil War.
That's hilarious.
And she said, what did Trump do before he was president?
He was a businessman.
Businessman and
needed.
TV star, you know? Yeah, that's what we need.
He was
he was a businessman that made his pockets thicker.
Well, he inherited a lot of that, of course, too. He got a lot of money from other people, and he inherited a lot. That's part of the problem with some of the stuff that he's having to fight, and that's some of what he's fighting right now is all these things about how much did he inflate his earnings and all of that kind of stuff. They're bringing all this up into this fraud, all these allegations. He's got 91 different charges across various jurisdictions.
I don't think he used the presidency to inflate anything. He didn't even take the salary. He gave that back. I mean, he didn't.
I don't
lost
think he
money
used the
during the presidency
to do any of that.
It's all going to come out in this fraud. It's going to come out in this fraud case. You know, it's either yay or nay. You know, either he did or he didn't, and it's all going to come out, and it's all going to come out pretty quick. They're trying to get it all done before all the primaries are done, and I mean, you don't want a guy that's running the office of president in San Quentin. You know, I mean, that wouldn't work out too good.
Again, presidential immunity.
Be hard to
go to San Quentin for that.
That freak did Biden make?
Yeah, how did Biden make his millions? He's been a
politician
for the last 50 years.
Fan.
Well,
yeah, he's a politician.
That's when term limits comes into
these days.
Well, that's when term limits come into. And if you're interested in term limits, there's a Facebook group called Drain the Swamp with Term Limits. There's about 500 or 600 members on it now, and we're trying as hard as we can to get term limits stopped, so you don't have some 80-year-old guy or woman running the show anymore. That's ridiculous.
Like Pelosi.
It's ridiculous that Pelosi's still in office.
Biden's been a politician his whole life. He's had his hand in everything, and he's backed out on several things he says. He says one thing 50 years ago, then 30 years ago, then 20 years ago. He changes with the wind. Trump doesn't change with the wind. He sticks with his guns on whatever he says.
Yeah.
William, all I can say is please don't send him any money.
Why not? I don't send anybody any
because
money.
He's a goddamn grifter.
A what?
Well, John, why don't you?
I can't put it any more plainly than that.
Why don't you say how you feel?
Yeah, I know it. Well, okay. The good news is he's probably going to be in jail in 10 or 12 months. So
no, he's not going to be in jail. They don't have anything on him. He hasn't done anything.
Oh my God! I feel like I got $100 bet coming, and I can't hold back.
Ooh, hey, I would love to see that. Let's get some bets going here.
How does he go to jail? People like Clinton
not
go to jail. It's the fact that he's a Republican. Clinton didn't go to jail. Nobody's going to jail.
Oh my God!
Well,
I mean, they're going to tie Clinton to.
Well, you know what? We can sit here and do all this conjecture, but it's in the hands of the courts now. I haven't got anything to do with it.
We'll find out. Yep. Well, we can argue and say our opinions and do whatever we want, but we will see. I absolutely agree. And what do you think about those damn Houthis firing 18 drones in the Red Sea, along with 2 cruise missiles and an anti-ship ballistic missile at ships? That happened today. We took them all down, but should we have been sending a couple missiles back to them, or just shooting them down? Do we need to just?
Well, they're going to do that. No, they're going to.
Should we
they're going to
obliterate?
Retaliate eventually.
Well,
and it's good to see we got the. It's good to see we got the British on our side now too, doing the same thing.
We need to send some missiles back.
The Red Sea is a big trading thing for the world. It's not just us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or the British.
Well,
this is affecting.
It's eventually
going. The world.
They're going to figure. Well, eventually they'll figure out a way to raise our gas prices because of it. Not to mention the prices on everything else. I mean, it's incredible. I went into AutoZone or one of those places the other day to get a bulb for my fog light on my car, and I said I need a bulb for my car fog light, and told them the make and model of the car and whatnot, and they pulled it up on their little computer. One bulb, $32. And I looked at it, and I looked at a bulb. I looked at the guy and I said, "Are you out of your mind?" He said, "Well, that's how much it costs now." And I said, "Well, I'll just have one fog light from now on." I said, "I don't give a damn about it that much. It doesn't affect me that much. So, no, there ain't no way in hell I'm paying $30 for a light bulb." And left the store. Wouldn't matter anything. I just told the guy straight up, "That's crazy. That's crazy. That ain't just crazy. Crazy."
Well, obviously, all this stuff is going to have repercussions around the world.
You wouldn't care about gas if there was a living wage. People talking about a living wage, and they're paying people to work at fast food joints $18 an hour to have no brain and no working sense. That's
So when it hits $20 an hour, I'm gonna get a job at McDonald's.
Yeah, that may be worth it.
I need a job.
That'd be $800 a week, wouldn't it? You just worked a 40-hour week. Of course, now they may not let you work a 40-hour week because then they'd have to pay. They'd have to pay Social Security, taxes, and health care. There's a lot of them that's trying to skirt that particular thing because they don't want to let you work full time because that means they've got to chip in stuff if you're employed full time. That's what's going around there.
Still take $20
the wage
an hour.
debate is
3 days a week. I can handle that.
Interesting thing, Are you keeping some people from working because employers can't pay that?
What are you talking about? It doesn't cost a damn nickel. I don't understand that statement.
Gary, I don't think to answer your question, I don't think there are. I don't think that paying wages for like $18 and $20 an hour is a problem for most businesses.
Are you kind of aiming that at Biden? Jay Johnson?
Yeah, he might be right. So far,
$18 an hour ain't shit. It's
the new minimum wage, Brandon. Yeah. It's not an uncommon amount of pay, especially to start. $17, $18, $20 an hour to start. Not that unusual.
I remember making $1.25 an hour working at the swimming pool in Jefferson. Now, inflation has raised everything else, but we used to go to a movie for $10. That would include popcorn and your date. $10.
Yeah.
Right.
You can't get a ticket for $10.
Let me tell you, when we take our grandsons to the movie now, there's 4 of us. Jill and I are both seniors, of course, and their kids, 9 and 7. I think it's like $73 or $74. We get the deals. We get the refillable popcorn and the refillable drinks and all that kind of stuff. $70-something for 4 people to go to the movies. I don't know how kids have a date now. I don't know where they go.
No, I don't understand it either. It's insane.
Well, I'm interested to see what Biden will do about all this shooting at us in the Red Sea. If he's going to attack or just kind of play defense.
Well, it'd be great if his Secretary of Defense was around to help. I
don't even know who the Secretary of Defense is.
Well, he's got prostate cancer and he's in a hospital. And for 4 days, nobody knew it. Come on, man, the more they pay in wages, the higher we're going to have to pay for food and services. And that's absolutely correct. I'm going to have to take your side on that, Jay Johnson.
I don't even, what's the Secretary of Defense's name?
Yep.
Lloyd
don't
Austin.
know.
Who?
Thank you, John.
His name is Lloyd Austin.
Lloyd Austin?
Yeah.
Never heard of him.
He went to the... he's some general, and he had prostate cancer surgery not long ago, back in November or something, and then he had a complication, and they put him back in the hospital recently, and as it turns out, he didn't notify President Biden or even his assistant that he was in the hospital. And so basically, while the Hootie stuff was going on, he was in the hospital. I got a real question about that.
Well, surely we got somebody that
you got to let
take
people know.
his place. The Assistant Defense Secretary. Biden himself. Somebody needs to do something. That falls back on your leader right there.
Oh yeah, like I said, I have real problems with Biden. I mean, if you miss something like that. Oh, by the way, has anybody seen the Secretary of Defense in the last 4 days? How much communication do you have with your staff if you do that? So, like I said, I got a real problem with Biden right now, and I'm not going to vote for him because I just think it's not, I'm 67, and I have a hard time remembering what I got to do the next day. It's what I got a calendar on my phone. So, to have as many responsibilities as you have as president, I think the cutoff for it should be 70 at the most. After 70.
Well, I'll be 70 this year. Y'all can still vote for me.
That works.
I don't know about 70. That's a little young.
Well, we got definitely an argument going here between Brandon and Jay Johnson.
Can they see each other's argument?
On the wage thing?
Yes, they can.
Yes, they can. Kenny said it's unacceptable given the climate of the world, and I absolutely agree with you, Kenny. That's unacceptable to me. At the very least, the Secretary of Defense should be fired, at the very least. That you know, you don't have.
Well, I mean, I don't understand. Why don't you let somebody know that you're in the hospital? I mean, that's not a sign of weakness. You just, man, you had a complication.
And Kenny agrees with me. Kenny agrees with me. We don't have to talk. I can just flash these messages.
I got all these side debates going on.
Yes, we do. Speaking on the side, we started a new deal last week, and I think it's time that we go to that. One of our new portions of the show, and we're going to start that right now.
What I want to talk to you a little bit today is the quality that we currently are experiencing in the entertainment industry. Now, I don't know if some of you saw my Facebook post of a day or so ago, but I happen to be going through Facebook. I don't spend a whole lot of time on Facebook, but I'll post some stuff every now and then. And I noticed that one of the links I had was to an old Tonight Show episode. So I pulled it up because I used to love the Tonight Show. Johnny Carson, right? Doc Severinsen, Ed McMahon, I mean, classy people. So he comes out and he interviews Jackie Gleason. I think it was the first time he had ever had Gleason on. Well, in the first place, Gleason looks a whole lot like my late father. And the second place is I thought he was pretty good in what he did, especially things like Smokey and the Bandit. But Gleason could do some dramatic stuff too, and kind of set the tone for a lot of things with the Honeymooners. Well, anyway, so Carson does about 10 minutes with him. And the difference in the quality of that interview and what passes for entertainment, and I put entertainment in quotes, on late night television today was absolutely stunning. It is so much better than the stuff that we get foisted on us today. It was amazing. Now, of course, granted, Gleason did smoke about 3 cigarettes while he was on the show, but just the quality of the interview and the response and actually that you knew who these people were. I mean, I see some of these people that are guests on late night television. I have no idea who they are or what they've ever done. And maybe that's just on me because I'm an old fart. But I've also noticed something else. We seem to be settling for things these days. Most of country music and pop music too, if you listen to it very closely now, I'm talking about the hit makers. They'll have one verse of a song, then they'll have a chorus, and they repeat those about 6 or 7 more times, and they call that a song. No. I just heard the last part of the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald today. Now there's a song. Johnny Cash used to sing some song. Merle Haggard. We're talking about country. Garth Brooks still does a pretty reasonable job these days, and there are some exceptions to that rule. And I'm not saying that all of entertainment today is schlock, because some of it is okay. But for the most part, our top 40 music and our country music these days is like what they used to say about the praise worship, 7-11, same 7 words repeated 11 times. And I'm kind of sick of that. Come on, folks, you can do better than that. We've got some creative people out there. I think we can do better. That's all I'm asking. Just give me a little bit better than what you're giving me now. And let's put a little class back in things. Now, there's an outmoded term, class. Some people just have it, and some people don't. But I think you can get better at it. Some things have changed, and not all of them have changed for the better. That's my time out, and I thank you for yours. I'm Gary Glenn.
This webcast is brought to you by William Lofton Photography. They can be found at williamlofton.com. Offering event residential portraiture at williamlofton.com.
There we go. Thank you, Bill. So welcome to my TED Talk, and save up your questions for later. Let's talk about inflation for a minute. This is something that William and I have talked about in particular before, and I thought he had some a good point of view about it. So what is inflation? It's the increase in prices of things that we typically buy every day: groceries, food, fuel, rent, home prices, housewares. So inflation is a measure of the rate of increase of those prices. And inflation is happening all the time. Sometimes prices increase faster, sometimes slower. Sometimes there is deflation, where prices are pretty much all falling together at the same time. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics keeps a measure of inflation called the Consumer Price Index, and they've been keeping it for decades, and it's great data. So what causes inflation to go up? What happens? Why is inflation going up faster sometimes and not others? For one thing, it's a normal part of the business cycle. There are going to be places in the business cycle where it's harder to borrow money. It's more expensive to borrow money. There's a lot of business activity, a lot of demand for products. Prices go up for all those reasons. Wages go up for in those parts of the business cycle. Or there can be an unexpected shock or change in the economy. Like, for example, Russia invades Ukraine in 2022. Gas prices went up over 50% when that happened. There's some hyperinflation for you. That's not just inflation. Rent and housing costs go up. There are asset bubbles. Think about real estate before 2008. That drove a lot of inflation. Back in the 70s, the whole world moved away from the gold standard, and the OPEC oil cartel formed. That created a lot of inflation late in the 70s and early in the 80s. The point is, inflation is going to happen no matter what. It's going to either increase slowly or faster, mostly depending on what part of the business cycle you're in. Doesn't really matter who's president or what Congress does. It has a lot more to do with changes in the economy or an unexpected shock to the economy. So why does inflation seem so bad right now? Two things. Number one, it's not bad right now. It's actually at 3.2%, down from 9.1 in June of 2022. So that's pretty good. That's actually really close to the Fed's stated target of a range of 2%. Most prices have stabilized. Gas prices are actually down a lot. The thing that most people notice right now are grocery prices and rent and housing, because they are not decreasing, and in some cases they're still going up almost as fast as they have in the recent past. So the new prices aren't normal to us yet, but they will be. Like it or not, in 2 years, we're still going to be paying $6 for a stupid box of cereal, but it'll be more normal to us. Inflation will seem lower. Rent and housing actually may come down. Those might actually decrease. If they do, it's probably also going to mean that something else bad is happening in the economy. So anyway, if you have questions when we come back on after my little TED Talk, we can talk about it. And if you have any questions about how we measure inflation, where you can find the data, just let us know.
Well, I'm here. Now there's everybody.
Yeah.
Well, it's National Championship week, and it looks like Michigan topped them all through their season of controversy and everything else that could have gone bad for them. They still were. They're still the champions, and they're. The only bad thing I hear about the game is the holding call on number 73, that when Penix finally got a connection with a long pass and they called it back when they could have been calling holding on Michigan as well. I mean, that's kind of a reaching line to me. Michigan physically beat them. They were the better team.
They were a better team. They're a better team. You know, one or two calls not going to make a difference in that game.
Well,
they had a superior defense, and the offense was clicking on that particular night. That's what happens. Now, the seeding committee kind of got it right, didn't they?
Yeah.
Number one met number two, and number one won.
And if we were all complaining about the committee, and you're absolutely right, Gary. They got it right. I mean, they hit it on the nose. I think they had the right.
The championship game was the week before when Alabama played Michigan.
Probably, and I would love to have seen Georgia get in the mix, but I think they probably would have given Michigan a better game. But you know, I mean, you go with what's been done that day. You can't say, well, you know, if we played them 9 more times, we might win 8 of them. Yeah, but on that day,
I'm just saying that the best game was Alabama-Michigan. I'm not saying Alabama should have won it, but.
Well, you know, Washington and Texas was a pretty good game. Both the semifinal games were great.
They were great games.
You know, one goes to overtime, and the other goes to literally the last second of the game. Right. They put 1 second back on the clock. You can't get much closer than that.
No, it was they hit it right, no doubt about that.
So what do you guys think? What do you guys think this 12-team thing is going to do for next year? Is this going to shut everybody up, or they're always going to be people said, we should have got in? Well, you know what? Let me tell you what's happened. What's happened. The football people have seen what March Madness has done for basketball. And so they want to get as many teams as possible. The problem is football ain't basketball. You can't play football every other day. Football is not a contact sport. Football is a collision sport. And you can't do that every other day. In fact, sometimes you need a week and a half to 2 weeks to get over one of those games if they're a real slobber knocker like we've seen on these things. So they're going to do the best they can and put 12 in there, but you're still going to have people bitching and moaning about things. But I think, surely to goodness, people can come up with the 12 best teams in college football and play them all. I mean, every other level of football does this. You know, all the other divisions of football do it. They have a national champion decided on the field. Division I ought to be able to do that too.
I think 8 would have been enough. I mean, 12 I'm sure would satisfy some people, but 8 would have been enough. That way you got a nice round of 4, 2, and then 1.
Yeah.
You don't have to pick buys.
I wouldn't seen it. I wouldn't have a problem with 8. I don't think there's probably, reasonably this year there were probably about 5 or 6 teams that could have played for the national championship and been legit if everybody comes to the table with all their weapons. Now you can say what you want to about Georgia and Florida State, but Georgia had a lot of people out of that game too.
Hey guys, Michigan won. The best team won. Tim Lee is saying Georgia finished ahead of Alabama, and it makes me feel good. I really enjoy the fact that we in the AP we were the 4th ranked team and Alabama was 5th. That's
well, in the coaches poll we were 3rd.
That's true.
Ahead of Texas.
Well, and speaking of retiring, is that why Saban retired? Jay Johnson says. I think he's tired, and I don't think he likes the portal system. I don't think he likes the NIL. And when you've had 7 national championships, you pretty well put yourself in an elite category that nobody else is in.
Plus,
at this point,
plus he has like 9 or 10 or 12 automobile dealerships. His net worth is $100 million. He doesn't have to do anything else. What is he now, 72? Hey, it's time for him to go enjoy life. Come on. And I think, Billy, you put your finger on it. Brandon says the same thing. The face of college football is changing. I mean, it really, really is. And I don't think Saban says, you know what?
No way.
I got plenty of money. I don't have to put up with this, and so I'm not. Now somebody will probably try to hire him as a consultant or
Kirby ain't going to the Falcons.
Or something like that.
Yeah, that's clickbait.
Yeah,
He'd
that's
be crazy
clickbait.
to go to the Falcons.
Falcons are awful, and they've been awful for some time.
I have no idea.
I haven't seen the Dogs practice. I don't know. Yeah, college football has really changed. I'll go with that. Kirby's not going to the Falcons. The Falcons are a mess, and it's going to take more than a year or two to straighten that out. And I'm looking at. I don't think you resurrect Vince Lombardi and put him in charge of the Falcons this past season, and I don't think he'd have done much better than this guy did. Did you actually seriously watch any of the Falcons games and the way they were playing the game? I mean, I'm sitting here and I'm going, ugh, I wouldn't have done that. And I'm just this old guy, sitting on the sidelines. I'm not one of these people they're paying 6 or 7 figures to that's supposed to be able to figure this stuff out.
Well, speaking of sports in general, we're going to take a quick intermission, and then we're going to come back with the complete sports report. Our referee is going to speak.
Awesome.
All right. Talk about Nick Saban retiring. If you hadn't heard that, that's big news. After 16 seasons at Alabama, he won 10 games a year those 16 years. 6 national championships, and he had that one at LSU. Big surprise and announcement today. Also, Pete Carroll in the NFL was forced out at the Seattle Seahawks. He's in the front office now, but he wasn't happy that he got relieved of his coaching duties. Well, this weekend kicks off the NFL wildcard weekend. In the AFC, we got Saturday, we got the Browns without Nick Chubb or Deshaun Watson, 2 local guys, playing the Texans at 4:30. Browns ended up 11-6 even without those 2. Also Saturday, we got the Dolphins versus the 11-6 Chiefs at 8 p.m. I'll be able to watch that one. I'll be through with my refereeing by then. Sunday, you got the Steelers without TJ Watt versus the Bills at 1 p.m. And in the NFC, Sunday, you got the Packers 9-8 versus the Cowboys 12-5 at 4:30 p.m. Also Sunday, you got the Rams with Matthew Stafford playing the Lions. He spent 12 years with the Lions. Is he going to ruin their playoff run? That's at 8 p.m. Sunday night. Monday at 8 p.m., we got the Eagles. Eagles did pretty good this year. They were 11-6, playing the 9-8 Buccaneers. The Buccaneers won the South. That's where the Falcons were in. And the Falcons mathematically had a chance in the last week of the season. If they had beat New Orleans and the Buccaneers would have lost to Carolina, Atlanta would have had a record that would have tied all them, and they would have gone based on head-to-head and conference wins, but they didn't. Hitting buys is Baltimore Ravens at 13-4. They'll play the winner of the Cleveland-Houston game. In San Francisco, the 49ers were 12-5. They'll play the winner of the Philadelphia Buccaneers game. All that leading up, of course, to the Super Bowl, which will be held in Las Vegas. Shifting from football, we go to baseball. The Atlanta Braves traded utility infielder Vaughn Grissom to the Red Sox for pitcher Chris Sale. That sounds like a pretty good trade. Back to football, of course, Atlanta fired Arthur Smith. He was 7-10 for the last 3 years, and that just doesn't cut it. 7-10, 7-10, 7-10. I don't have anything on basketball. I don't know if anybody's that interested in it or not, but it's the middle of the season, and teams like Boston are in the lead there with the record in the East. And that's all I got. We'll ship it back to you there, Bill.
Well, looks like weather or not. And you ask, what's that mean, weather or not? Well, I can talk about the weather or not. It was Gary's idea. Thought it was kind of catchy. But anyway, the weather around here, we got 3.5 inches of rain. That was some serious amount of rain we got night before last. And we got another major rainstorm that's going to be with us in about 2 days. So if you got trees that look like they might fall down, get ready. They're going to fall down because you got high winds coming with it as well. The Northeast is under snow, and they're going to get more. They finally got some snow in New York. Now for the not part. One thing I wanted to show you. This is, see what this thing is. It's goes on an 8-pack or 12-pack of your favorite drink, and it looks like a harmless little piece of plastic, but what it does is the sea life, they get caught up in it. The big sea life, the big fish, they eat it, which is not really good for them. The small sea life get caught in it, and they get caught in it, and they can't get out, and they can't get out, and they can't eat. They get it caught in their gills, they get it caught in their mouth, they get it caught over their head. And if you can't get it off, I'm going to show you what you can do to help our planet real quick. Start counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 31 seconds. And I cut that piece of trash up into that. What that does is it's still bad for our environment going into the trash, but you will have saved because inevitably this is definitely going to go into the ocean, and it's killing our sea life. Please pick up your trash. Please put it in the right place. Please do that for us. We'll be right back in a second. Well, I'm back again. Oh, there we are. There's all of us. Well,
All right.
I know it's a little bit honky or whatever with some of our transitions. We're still working on it. We're changing some things, and it will have to spread up. Let's go over some comments real quick on the end. Brendan says, let's go Trump. And to answer the question that I got from Jay Johnson earlier, if he's still here, if it was Biden versus Trump, I'd vote for Biden. I'd rather an old man than a crazy man.
No.
And Tim Lee says, good job, Coach. And he also said that, yep, sad to see marine life that gets tangled up in that plastic. If you want to talk to us, if you got comments, you can email us at intelligentramblings@gmail. We also have a web presence with our website. Intelligent Ramblings is basically what we write down, what we feel. And you can catch us on Facebook and on Google, YouTube. But please put your comments in there, and we'll respond to them. And if you see something you went like, that really sucked, Bill, or Gary, or John, or William, please have no problems. We want you to definitely comment on that. Anybody else got any comments?
No, I think the town hall's starting tonight, isn't it?
I don't know. The town hall for
Trump.
Oh yeah,
Isn't
I'm gonna
that
really
tonight?
tune into that.
I might not even tune into it.
I can't wait to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think the Republican candidates are also debating tonight in
is that
Iowa.
tonight?
All two of them.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
he's having a town hall at the same time. Because again, he has no need to show up and debate. It's right now it's his race to lose.
I actually agree with you, Gary. Well, anybody got any closing comments?
It's good to be
I
back.
kind of enjoyed the
Yeah.
yeah.
John, welcome back.
John. We're glad you had-
John's been sick for the last couple of weeks, and he's on the he's getting better.
Rebound.
Rebound.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you get old. It sucks, but you can't remember simple words like rebound. That might have been a lot of vodka
and rehab too, huh, John?
and some other stuff that I ingested over the years. We won't remark on that. But we really appreciate you being here.
You and Willie
commenting. Me and Willie. Oh, I love Willie Nelson.
Yeah.
But we appreciate you being here. And we appreciate your comments. And we look forward to seeing you guys next week on Intelligent Ramblings.
All right.
Absolutely.
Good night.
Yep. Good night, everybody. Have a great night.
Night, everybody.